Okay, so welcome to video number 3 from week 4 in Mastering Volumes in Trading with Urban Forex. Now in the last video, I talked to you guys about this particular candle here, saying, you can see a very increase in volume, but what does it mean to do volume by price? And why is that important? Okay, so if you've been following some of the stuff that I talk about, like support and resistance and everything, I go into memory of the market, right? Memory of how the people perceive support and resistance, how people perceive Fibonacci levels and everything. They use memory levels as it's going to react again, because it did it before, it's going to do it again. What I'm going to show you now is I'm going to give you access to understand what does it mean to have the pure numbers of the larger players. Okay, the real big order pieces. Because think of it this way. If a larger player is activating a sell, okay, so let's say price is moving, and they say, I want to sell this at 4 billion. Okay, but I want only this price. It immediately fills them in. Let's say the public is willing to buy, but they buy only 2 billion. They buy 2 billion, the prices automatically drop, and he's not filled in for his remaining order. He might still have the remaining order valid and holding up in that area, because he still needs to get filled in. That becomes a true support and resistance from these larger players if they're still willing to say, I want that price. I want that price. Okay? Because that's where they stepped in, and that's where they said, okay, they tell the broker, you give me that price, otherwise I don't care. I don't want it. Okay, so now let's take a look at how this characteristics pans out in terms of volume. So in the same thing, in this particular candle, we see an increase in volume, okay, which is sort of like your range pop kind of thing. It's not a range pop, but it is the low of this day that gets broken, right? It gets broken out on the way down with high volume. Okay, so that becomes a concern. It's like, okay, well, I don't know if the high volume is there, if the high volume is here. We need to dissect it. So let's go down a time frame. Okay, let's go down a time frame. Let's go down to the 15. I'll pull this up to that right date. Yeah, okay. Here we are now. Okay, we can see it is now this particular candle right there. Again, same thing. Well, where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? Okay, because the volume is still just one candle. We were thinking maybe it's going to be at least 3 candles or 2 candles, because the 60 involves 4 15-minute candles. So what is it? Let's go dissect it further. Let me go down to the 5. Okay, there we go. Here we are. Now we can see the two high volumes that were caused were from 2 different candles. One was this, and the other one is this. Whoop. Sorry, my fingers can't stay straight. Okay, well, you get the idea. These 2. Okay, these 2 are the ones that were created the high volume. So that means the volume initially started by someone buying this and then someone selling it and eating it all up. So the volume increase is in this area here. It's that buyer that got taken out very aggressively. So this price now becomes important to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark this, instead of the price up here, thinking, or here from the 60, we're going to mark it down in this area, as that's the area where it bought from and then it took it out from. Let's go back to the 60. Okay. Here we are. This now acts as your true support and resistance in the market of, this is the area where there's a large capacity of orders trying to get filled. Now, normally when you look at this, you don't see, supply and demand or support and resistance. Yeah, you can see support and resistance here, but how do you know that's going to work so well? You can see support resistance here. Well, that didn't favor so well either. Okay, So sometimes knowing volume by price can give you a very good edge into get an idea. Okay, I don't recommend using this to activate your trades, but it's a good idea to know where is true support and resistance in the market. You can do these from higher time frames and bring them down to your time frame as well. Sometimes going from a higher time frame going down, you're gonna have to dissect, like keep going to a lower time frame to figure it out until you find a decent price area. Okay, it's not gonna be pinpoint, but you are gonna get a 1 to 5 pip variation of where it might be approximately. Okay, now same things happen here. As you can see further down this line, when prices touch that area, volume increased again, which means a little bit more of the positions got filled. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Okay, let's go dissect this. Let's go figure this out. What is this thing? Let's go down to the 15. It's gonna be further down. Okay, here we go. So this one, we don't need to dissect any further. We can clearly see it's this red bar here. It's this red bar here that caused the move to go down. So it was a move up, slight range, okay, 2 candle like sideways movement, touch that area, and then high volume drop. Okay, so he still didn't get a chance to fill in a lot of his positions because the drop happened so hard. Okay, high volume drop on this particular candle, so we know it's up in this area again. Okay, more or less in that area. And that now acts as your next support and resistance. Now, these can be very, very useful for when dealing with V formations and stuff like that to get an idea. But this is basically a layer on top of another layer. Now, if you ask me how much of this do I personally use, I use this maybe 20% of the time. Okay, I'm not very, very concerned about high volume price spots, but I do like to have an awareness of them. Okay, I want to know, because if I focus on these high volume price spots, my brain is going to start shifting into location trading. Location. I'm not a location trading guy. I like to read the market, and based on what I'm reading, I like to figure it out and be like, I think he's not waiting for that location. He's ready to go now. Or I think he's going to go further than that location. He's going to go later. Okay, so I like to read the market as it develops. Okay, but this does help to give you a better edge to be like, where could it possibly start doing something? And once it starts doing something, like, okay, let's see what he does now. Okay, and then following this, you have your nice little test phases. Let me go back to your 60. Okay, you have your nice little test phases that eventually, after your few tests, the thing eventually goes down. Okay, so this is a 4-hour 60 trade that ended up developing, took a bit longer, but you can see this nice V was generated with a high volume that came from a high volume price point. That's a very good sign. That tells you your odds are now increasing. It's just layer after layer. Your odds are telling you, hey man, this is good. Because anything following that V formation, look at that, drop in volume. So these are all good signs. Okay? All right. So let's do a quick recap on all of this before I give you some homework. Okay? And for those of you who have not taken your elite trial yet, you are now eligible to go into the elite community for 1 full month on us. Okay? No cost to you. You are now eligible for a free trial for 1 full month. Get in there. In the elite community, we're going to be trading these kind of things every single day. And what I'm about to tell you in the next week is so powerful that you're going to learn how we trade this in the elite community to make money on a regular basis. Okay, and we're gonna even strengthen it up. Okay, so you're gonna really, really enjoy it. The conference rooms are now tightened up. They're strict. They're basically telling you what pairs you need to be trading, where your focus needs to be on for the whole day. It's basically like a signal service slightly, but then your you have to execute it to the best of your ability. It's like a little mentorship program, actually. Okay? So you're going to love it. You're going to love it. So again, it's on us. You are now eligible to get out there and do your 1 month of free trial if you haven't already done so. Okay? So you are now eligible for that. Okay. All right. Now, so a quick recap of these things. 1. Okay, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. If you have high volumes during your pullbacks, what does that mean? So let's say you have this range pop here. Okay, now this range pop, you have decrease in volume because your range has some really high volume here. Okay, so there's nothing there. Let me do this. Okay, then you have another range and then a slight pop there, nothing there. Okay, but you have a range here, which is low volume, and then it pops with high volume. Now that's a good sign, right? We all love that. Now we need a pullback. How's the pullback looking? As the pullback starts coming in, and you're watching it on the 15 minutes, and you see this increase in volume that challenges this thing, what do? Do you become a buyer? No, it just means you stop the selling. So what does it mean? Why is this going up so high? Does it mean the markets are going to turn into buys? No, right? You just said no, or if you said yes, now you know the answer is no. It just means it's going to take longer to develop. Why is this not a turn in the market? Why is this not a turn in the market? Because this volume break was not the highest in the sky that you can see across your entire chart. It is only when it's the highest across the sky that you can start determining that maybe counter trends are going to start coming up. Okay, it won't come immediately, but they're due for it, which means this whole pair is no longer for sells in the near future. Okay? So if you got those 2 questions right, congratulations, pat yourself on the back, you've done a good job. Now, let's watch this further. You have this little range here, and then it pops again with an increase in volume compared to that range volume. So is that a good sign? Yeah, that's a good sign. Market goes up, okay. So this means it's trying to do a buy. But remember the story coming up from here. You're still interested on the sell side, but what's happening? What is this thing doing? It says it's for a buy. That means don't sell yet, stand by. It's going to take some time. And then we have an increase in volume right here. It's almost like that volume increase for the pop that happened got consumed with a slight higher increase in volume. Now that's a good sign. Okay, that's a good sign. Now what do we look for after that? We want to make sure the pullback is on decreased volume. And now you're getting that. Shall we dissect this a little bit? Let's do that. Let's dissect this increase in volume here. So get an idea of some high volume areas. There's a high volume when it popped to the upside. So should be somewhere around here. And then a high volume when it dropped to the downside should be somewhere around here. I'm just saying should be. Let's go figure it out. So this is on 16 July, 2100 hours. Okay, so let's go down to the 15. It goes 16th of July, 2100 hours. Let's have a look. And voila, it is on this candle. So this is your high volume right there. It is not on the previous one. So let's mark that area of that is where the big boy got interested in at that price range. Let's go back. Okay, here we are. So it's around this area. Nothing happens here during your initial test, but as your secondary test comes in, this area comes into gear and starts picking up on high volume. And that's when your sell starts activating to go all the way down to your lows over here. Okay, because this was not a uptrend. You have to remember that because the sellers didn't call it quits here. Okay, so this is going to be very, very powerful for you when you understand the story like this. Because you know they didn't call it quits, it means it's a sell, it's just a deeper pullback. That's okay. It's just a deeper pullback. And as you read things along the way, the first sign you had was this thing, which was for a buy, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to do the sells yet. It means stand by. Maybe it's going to pull back and go higher. But then he didn't pull back and go higher. He in fact pulled back and crashed with increase in volume. So he didn't eat it up. He actually ate it up and increased the volume. That means this sell is going to be a runner. It's going to be a runner. It's not going to struggle on its way down. It's going to be a runner. Okay? And then following that, you have a nice little test phase coming in with a decrease in volume, comes up to an area of interest in price, and then things start to activate and they start going a lot more aggressive after that. Okay? So for your homework coming up for this week is now simply continue to use all this knowledge into your demo trading. I want to hear it, even if it's middle of the week and the next lesson hasn't released yet, but then you already watched this video. Come back to this video, and even if it's in the middle of the week, and if you are feeling you're getting a grip of things, I want you to comment below the video and let me know how awesome your trades are now. Okay, I'm really looking forward to reading them because I really think starting at this level, we're going to take you every step of the way, a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. And next week, like I said, it is going to be the most powerful week, and I'm going to show you something even more incredible, which is going to be a lot of aha moments, just one after the other, one after the other. Okay? So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Again, do not forget about the comments. I really like to read them, so I will check back throughout the week. All right. Cheers, guys. See you guys next week.